I used to believe that nothing bad could happen inside my own home. I locked my doors, I closed my windows, and every night, before going to sleep, I checked everything twice. But the truth is, I was never alone. This happened 3 years ago, in a small rented house on the edge of town. It was cheap, quiet, and far from neighbors, perfect for someone like me who preferred isolation. At least, that's what I thought. The first strange thing happened on a Monday night. I was half asleep when I heard a soft creaking sound. Not loud, not sudden, just slow, deliberate. I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling, listening. The sound stopped. I told myself it was the house settling. Old houses make noise. Everyone knows that, so I turned over and went back to sleep. The next night, it happened again. This time, it sounded closer, like a footstep coming from the hallway. I checked my phone. 2:47 a.m. My heart started beating faster. I sat up in bed and held my breath. Nothing. No movement. No sound. I grabbed a flashlight from my nightstand and checked the hallway. Empty. Every door was closed. The front door was locked. The windows were sealed. I laughed quietly to myself, embarrassed by my fear. "Just your imagination," I whispered. That was my second mistake. Over the next week, things started going wrong in small ways. My shoes were not where I left them. Kitchen drawers were slightly open. Food disappeared faster than usual. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I forgot. Maybe I moved things without realizing. But then I found something that made my stomach turn. One morning, while brushing my teeth, I noticed muddy footprints on the bathroom floor. Not animal prints, not mine, bare human footprints. They started near the hallway and ended right beside my bed. I didn't go to work that day. I walked through every room slowly, checking closets, behind curtains, under furniture. Nothing. No one. Still, fear crawled into my chest and refused to leave. That evening, I bought a cheap security camera and placed it in the living room, facing the hallway. I told myself it was just for peace of mind. I had no idea what I was about to see. That night, I slept poorly. Every sound woke me. Every shadow felt wrong. When morning came, I rushed to check the camera footage. At first, everything looked normal. Hours of empty rooms, nothing moving. Then I reached 3:12 a.m. The screen changed. The hallway light turned on by itself. My breath caught in my throat. Then, someone walked into frame. A tall figure, thin, barefoot. He moved slowly, like he knew exactly where everything was. I watched in horror as he stood outside my bedroom door, listening. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw my phone. But I couldn't stop watching. The man gently turned my bedroom door handle. It didn't open. I had locked it that night. He stood there for almost a full minute. Then he leaned down and pressed his eye against the keyhole. I felt sick. That night, while I slept just a few feet away, a stranger was watching me. The footage continued. He walked into the kitchen, opened the fridge, ate my food. Then he returned to the hallway and disappeared, straight toward the ceiling. That's when I realized the truth. There was an attic crawl space above the hallway, and someone had been living there. I called the police immediately. They arrived within minutes. They searched the attic. What they found still haunts me. A sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, bottles of water, and worst of all, photos. Photos of me sleeping. The intruder was never caught. The police believe he escaped through a loose attic vent before they arrived. I moved out that same day. To this day, I still lock my bedroom door every night. And sometimes, when my house is completely silent, I still hear soft footsteps. In the dark. I was home alone that night. The city was silent. No traffic. No voices. The clock on my phone read 12:38 a.m. I had just turned off the TV and was about to go to bed when... Knock, knock, knock. My heart jumped. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe someone had the wrong house. Maybe a drunk neighbor. I stayed still, listening. Silence. Then, knock, knock, knock. This time, slower, harder, intentional. I walked quietly to the front door and looked through the peephole. No one was there. The porch was empty. The streetlight flickered. Nothing moved. I felt foolish for being scared. I stepped back. Bang, bang, bang. The knocking exploded against the door. My chest tightened. "Who is it?" I called out, my voice shaking. No answer. Just breathing. Heavy, slow, breathing on the other side of the door. I grabbed my phone and turned off all the lights. I didn't want whoever was outside to know where I was. Minutes passed. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Not leaving. Moving sideways. toward my windows. I crouched behind the couch, barely breathing. Then my phone vibrated. Unknown number. I know you're inside. My blood ran cold. Suddenly, something hit the back door. Once, twice. The handle started to shake. That's when I called the police. I whispered my address, crying so hard I could barely speak. They told me to stay silent and hide. The knocking stopped. Everything went quiet. Too quiet. Then, red and blue lights flashed through my windows. Police were outside. After they secured the area, an officer told me something that still haunts me. The man had been knocking to see if anyone was home. When I didn't answer, he tried the back door. In his pocket, they found zip ties, a knife, and duct tape. The officer looked me straight in the eyes and said, "If you had opened the door, you wouldn't be alive right now." I moved out a week later. To this day, when someone knocks late at night, I don't answer, because sometimes, a knock isn't a request. It's a test. We thought it was stress. That's what we told ourselves when strange things started happening in our house. Food disappeared, doors were left unlocked, and at night, we heard footsteps above the ceiling. It was a small family home. Me, my wife, and our 8-year-old daughter. Quiet neighborhood, friendly neighbors, the kind of place where you feel safe. Too safe. The first sign was the food. Leftovers vanished overnight. Bread went stale faster than usual. Milk cartons emptied too quickly. We blamed each other. "No, I didn't eat it. I thought you did." We laughed about it. That was our mistake. Then came the noises. Scratching, soft thumps, slow footsteps moving from one end of the ceiling to the other. Every night around 2 a.m., I checked the attic once. I saw nothing. Just dust, insulation, silence. Weeks passed. One morning, my daughter asked me something that froze my blood. "Daddy, who is the man that watches me sleep?" I laughed nervously. "Sweetheart, no one watches you." But she looked serious. "He stands by my door at night," she said. "He tells me to be quiet." That night, I installed cameras. One in the hallway, one in the living room, one facing my daughter's bedroom. I didn't sleep. I watched the live feed. At 2:17 a.m., the attic hatch slowly opened. Not forced, unlocked. A hand came down, then a foot. A man climbed out of our ceiling. Dirty, bearded, smiling. He stood in the hallway for a long time, listening. Then he walked toward my daughter's room. I ran. I don't remember grabbing the bat. I don't remember shouting. I only remember screaming. The man escaped through the attic before the police arrived. But they found proof. A mattress hidden in the insulation. Empty food cans. Children's drawings. And notes describing our daily routine. The officers told us he had been living there for 6 months. Watching, learning, waiting. We moved out the next day. My daughter still sleeps with the lights on. And sometimes, when the house is quiet, she asks me, "Daddy, is he still up there?" I always kept the spare room locked. It was just storage, old boxes, broken furniture, things I didn't need anymore. No reason for anyone to go inside. That's why I noticed immediately when the lock was turned the wrong way. I lived alone in a 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor. Quiet building, security guard downstairs, cameras in the lobby. I felt safe, too safe. The first time I saw it, I told myself I was mistaken. The keyhole faced left instead of right. I unlocked it, checked inside, nothing unusual. Boxes, dust, silence. I locked it again and went on with my day. 2 nights later, it happened again. Same door, same lock, turned. My stomach tightened. I checked the apartment. Windows locked, main door bolted, balcony sealed. I stood there, staring at that door, feeling watched. That night, I placed a strip of tape across the doorframe. If the door opened, the tape would tear. I barely slept. In the morning, the tape was broken. Cleanly, like someone took their time. I called building management. They checked the master keys. No issues, no forced entry. Probably the AC pressure, they said. I didn't believe them. That evening, I hid my phone inside the spare room, camera recording. Then I locked the door and waited. At 1:41 a.m., the handle moved. Slowly, the door opened. Someone stepped inside. I watched the footage the next morning with shaking hands. A man I had never seen before. He wore dark clothes and no shoes. He closed the door behind him. Then he looked directly into the camera. And smiled. He didn't steal anything. He just sat there, breathing, listening, waiting. For 2 hours. Then he unlocked the door from the inside and left. Police later discovered a hidden access panel behind the closet. It connected multiple apartments. The man had been using it to move unseen. Choosing rooms, choosing people. I moved out that same week. I still check locks obsessively. Because sometimes, a locked door doesn't keep danger out. It keeps it hidden. The police said there were no signs of forced entry. No broken locks, no damaged windows, nothing. Which made it worse. I lived in a gated community. Security cameras, night guards, keycard access. The kind of place where crime doesn't happen. That's why I ignored the first sign. Every morning, my front door was unlocked. Not wide open, just unlocked. I blamed myself. Maybe I forgot. Maybe I was tired. I locked it again. Then things started moving. My chair wasn't where I left it. The TV volume changed. The shower felt warm, like someone had just used it. I lived alone, or so I thought. I changed the locks twice. Still, the door unlocked itself overnight. That's when I installed cameras. One in the living room, one facing the door, one in my bedroom. At 3:06 a.m., the footage changed. The front door opened, silently. A man walked in. He didn't rush. He didn't sneak. He walked like he belonged there. He took off his shoes, sat on my couch, watched TV. Then he stood in my bedroom doorway, just staring. For 9 minutes, I was in the bed, asleep. The man never touched me, never stole anything. Before leaving, he locked the door behind him. The police identified him days later. A former maintenance worker. He had copied master keys. He knew schedules, camera blind spots, security routines. He had access to dozens of homes. When they arrested him, he said one thing: "I just liked watching people feel safe." I moved away, changed cities, changed routines. But even now, when I lock my door at night, I check it twice. Because the most terrifying intruders don't break in. They're already allowed inside.